If this is your first time creating with us, we want to share a few tips to make this experience a great one. If you haven't yet, visit our techniques videos linked in the description below. For all you first-timers, we sent you some pipe cleaners in your kit specifically to practice with these videos and learn common techniques that will make your piece even better. Regardless of how many times you've done this, you have some extra pipe cleaners in your kit in case you make a mistake. That's completely normal and we've planned for it. The more time and attention you give to your piece, the better it will turn out. So take all the time you need, follow the steps, and above all, have fun learning and advancing in this new art form. Happy twisting! Let's make our golden puppy pipe squeak. The only other thing you're going to need will be a pair of scissors and a pencil, and someone to help you use those if you're a kiddo. To begin, grab a full tan pipe cleaner and run it through your fingers like you're curling a ribbon. You will find a link to that technique video in the description below. Then, lay it on the body shape on your template to get the relative size and shape. Once you have the right size and shape, twist together the connection to secure it in. Check that shape and size again and adjust as needed. When you're happy with the size and shape, carefully or with help, trim and secure the extra. You will need 2 body frames, so repeat this bodybuilding process. Be sure to compare to the first frame and shape them to match. Let's add braces to our frames to strengthen them. Grab a tan pipe cleaner and lay it vertically over one of the body frames. Leave a small amount hanging over the top to connect. Fold over that extra at the top and wrap over the frame gently to lock in the brace. Connect on the bottom by wrapping around the frame gently. Double check that you didn't distort your shape by comparing it to the template when you made those braces. Carefully or with help, trim and secure. Make a second brace going horizontally across the frame with the part you trimmed. Bend around as before to secure them in. As you pass the center brace, wrap over and around it to anchor this brace in before securing on the opposite side. Be sure you're gently wrapping over and around that vertical brace and lightly keeping it all in the center. Don't pull on your connection or pinch too tightly as you work with your piece. Carefully or with help, trim and secure after checking. Brace your second frame in the same way. You can use the piece you just trimmed off to create the vertical brace for the second frame. Be sure to wrap over and around that vertical brace as you pass. Compare your 2 frames and see if they match up, and let's move on. We will fill these in with a wrap. You can see the link in the description below to that technique video in case you want to practice first. Begin by hooking a small amount of a full tan pipe cleaner over the frame to the left of the vertical brace at the top. Work your pipe cleaner to the other side of the frame, then gently fold over the top and turn the piece over. Follow across to the other side, then lightly bend over, turn the piece, and then pinch down to lock that bend in place. Continue to follow the line above and bend, turn, and pinch to fill in the body all the way down. Be sure you have gentle pressure on all of this. Don't press too hard on either the bend or the pinch. Simply secure it in place gently and turn the piece as you go. When you come to the end of a pipe cleaner, you can extend by twisting 2 ends together. This video is part of our techniques and is linked in the description below. If at any point your extension will wrap over the edge of your frame, simply trim back your pipe cleaner to extend before that will happen on the shape. Then continue wrapping. If you try to wrap an extension over that edge, you'll likely lose your shape. Be sure you're checking your shape every so often with the template or the other body frame to make sure you don't distort it in the process. If you do, simply unwrap and go again. Be sure you're pushing up on those fill lines to keep them tight once you reach the bottom. When it's filled, wrap over and around the edge to lock it all in. Then continue to wrap over the bottom part of the frame all the way across as shown until you reach the opposite side. Then carefully, or with help, trim and secure it in to complete the first body fill. Repeat this same wrap fill process with the other body frame you made. Now you have 2 filled body frames ready to go. Now, let's make some features, starting with the floppy ears. Carefully or with help, cut a full tan pipe cleaner in half. Make a rounded bend in the center of one of those cut halves to begin, then shape to the template that came with your kit. When you have the size, bend over one end of the length at the right angle to match the template. Once you're happy with the size and shape, pinch the overlap and wrap over and around the edge to lock in that ear shape. Loop that piece over and around once more to make it end on the opposite side of the other extra as you see here. Double check that shape again and you will have 2 connection pieces sticking down off either side of the ear. Repeat this ear making process with the other cut half you have in the same way, but sizing to your first ear instead of the template this time to maintain symmetry with your piece. Adjust the size and shape for both as you wish, and now you're ready to move on with your 2 ear frames completed. Let's fill in the ears now. Grab a full tan pipe cleaner and one of the ears. Attach starting on the side at the bottom by tying on like we have been. We're going to weave to fill this in. That wrap style is linked in the description below in our technique videos if you want to check it out first. To weave, simply go over the side of the frame, then back through the middle, folding over the edges as you go. You will continue going over the side of the frame and through the shape all the way up to fill it in. As you weave, you can run the pipe cleaner through your fingers like you're curling a ribbon to help it change directions. Watch your pressure as you pull through. Don't pull it all the way through, but gently fold over the edge as it gets to the end to maintain your shape. When you get to the top and it's filled, push through again from back to front a couple times as shown. Once it's wrapped up, carefully or with help, trim and secure the end. Eventually, we will fold this over to make it floppy, but for now, you have 1 filled ear. Let's repeat this with the second ear frame you made in the same way. Hook the end of a new pipe cleaner and fill the second ear now. You can check your shapes together as you go to ensure you're maintaining symmetry between the ears. Now you have 2 filled in ears. Let's make his tail. Grab that same tan colored pipe cleaner again to start. You will only need half, so bend and cut it carefully or with help. Begin by bending a point halfway up one of those cut halves. Then shape to the tail on the template that came with your kit. Bend the top side down where the tail shape ends at a right angle. Pinch the overlap of the ends and pick up. Then, wrap the longer end you folded down over and through the shape, ending on the other side of the extra as shown, so you have 2 connections like you did with the ears. Adjust as you wish and check it to the template, and then we're ready to move on. Let's fill in our tail the same way we did the ears. Hook a small piece onto the bottom and weave your way up to the tip of the tail. At the tip, weave through once more to make it clean at the top. Trim and secure the end once it's filled, carefully or with help. Now you have your tail filled in and we're ready to continue. Now let's make his white tummy. Start by grabbing a full white pipe cleaner and doing a ribbon pull. Get the right size and shape by comparing it to the template that came with your kit. When you have the right size, twist around the end to lock in that shape as shown. Check your size to the template, and when you like it, carefully or with help, trim and secure the long extra piece. Using the long piece you just cut, make a vertical brace across the tummy like you have been. Once you have it locked in on top and bottom, carefully or with help, trim and secure the end. Let's wrap this shape to fill. Make a small hook on the end of a full white pipe cleaner and tie onto the left side of the vertical brace to start. Then follow your shape and bend, turn, and pinch like you did to fill in both body shapes. If you end up with a connection on the edge, don't forget to trim so you don't wrap over and extend the pipe cleaner over the edge of the frame. When you reach the bottom of the fill, wrap over and around the edge of the frame to lock it in. Then continue the wrap over the bottom of the frame like you did with the bodies all the way to the other side. When you get to the other side, trim, but leave about 1 inch sticking off the back to connect, carefully or with help. Using that longer excess from earlier, cut it in half, carefully or with help, and make another connection on the opposite side by twisting around one fill line as shown. Repeat this with the other cut half on the top center. Carefully or with help, trim your connections to match. Now you have your white tummy finished. Now, move all your pieces out of your working area and place a scrap paper down to catch the mess from this next step. Have an adult help you with this, or do this very carefully as an adult. Grab a full white pipe cleaner and shave the fuzz off as much as possible, about a finger length down the pipe cleaner. That's about 3 inches. When you have it shaved close, carefully or with help, trim off the wire piece to use later. Repeat this shaving process with the same amount of black, very carefully or with help. Now it's time to make some small features. We need a full black pipe cleaner for this to start. Measure off the length of your finger, about 3 inches, and carefully or with help, trim it to the right length. Bend that piece in half into a rounded staple shape as shown. This will be the open mouth piece. Measure off that same amount you just cut again and carefully or with help, trim that length to start the nose. Start by bending a small hook at the end of the cut piece and fold it around to make a small triangle. When you have that, twist over the connection to lock it in. Push the long extra to the back and shape it into a triangle as best you can. Then, very carefully or with help, shape that triangle the rest of the way by trimming it with your scissors. Grab one of those cut halves and bend a small hook on the end. Then, tightly spiral around this hook several times to make a circle, comparing it to the eye on the template to get the right size. When you have the right size, work the extra across the back flat to the middle and have it point backward to connect later like a nail shape. Carefully or with help, trim this to the length that is shown. Use the other cut half from earlier to make a second eye in the same way, comparing it to the eye you just made for symmetry this time. Compare your eyes together before trimming the connection on the second to match the first, carefully or with help. Now you've made all those fuzzy black face features. Grab that white shaped wire and you're going to make sparkles for his eyes. To start, hook the end as shown. Bend it down and around to make a knob on the end. This might take some work. Be careful and get help if needed, it can be a bit sharp. At the base of the knob you made, bend it at a right angle. This is the shape you will end up with. It lays flat like a nail top. Now, carefully or with help, trim down to the size you see here. Repeat this process with your leftover white wire, carefully or with help. Compare your sparkles together to be sure you're happy with the size. Now let's attach them. Grab one of the black round eyes you made and one of the white wire sparkles. Work it into the spiral in a corner. You will place this so it falls in the top right of the eye. Angle that line any way you want, but you will match the other in the same direction. Secure in by twisting around the black extra with the white extra on the back of the eye. Once it's locked in, trim and secure around carefully or with help. Shape and adjust to make it work for you. If you need it to show up a bit more, you can trim some of the black around that piece, very carefully or with help. But you don't have to, it's up to you. Repeat this process with the other eye. Be sure you angle that white line in the same direction you did on the first eye. Now you have your eyes ready to connect. Now let's make that smile part of the mouth. Grab the black wire you shaped to begin. Bend in the center into a V as shown. Press it into a point tightly. Then fold up each side into a U shape as you see. Now compare it to the mouth and shape on the template. Try to match the size of the U-bends. These bends will be pretty small to fit on the piece. Keep working with them until you like them and they are similar in size to the template that came with your kit. When you like it, set it aside for a minute and we'll come back and finish that shape in a bit. To make the colored bridge on the face, grab the lighter tan colored pipe cleaner that came in your kit, not the same color as the body. Begin by bending into a curve at the bottom and shape to the template on the nose bridge piece as shown. We will be putting things on this piece. Be sure to make it the right size in order to do this. Twist at the overlap once you have the right size and shape to connect. Bend over that longer extra and we're going to start filling this piece from the top down with a weave. When it's filled, shape your piece as needed, then leave the extra sticking out of the back as shown for connection later. Let's make his tongue. Grab that pink pipe cleaner that came in the kit to start. Trim it to about a finger length or 3 inches like we have been, carefully or with help. Bend that cut piece in half with a rounded bottom. Then, at the right length for the tongue, bend backward both of the pieces to make the shape as shown, checking on the template and comparing to the mouth to see if you like the shape. Now, let's connect all the features that go on that bridge piece, starting with the nose. Grab the nose and push through the fill at roughly where the bridge shape curves, as you can see here. You might have to play with the placement as you go, but start there. Push that connection all the way through the fill and pull it snugly against the bridge. Now grab that wire mouth you made earlier and we will bend back connections to push it through the fill as well. Bend back each side to be even with the center point. Push that through below the nose. The center point should be touching the pointed tip of the nose. Move and adjust the smile to make it look right for you. Next, grab that fuzzy black staple shape for the mouth. Push in the connections at an angle. Go under the mouth and push through the top connection and go one fill line down and push the bottom connection through. The top connection will be under the right side of the smile and the bottom connection under the left. Again, one fill line apart, higher on the top, lower on the bottom. Work this piece to get a small amount showing on the front, while still being able to see the wire smile above it. Make sure you like that nose placement and wrap the black long connection around the top tan connection to keep it in place. Then, carefully or with help, trim the excess black and secure. With the mouth in the right place, carefully or with help, trim some of the extra wire, then bend them to secure in place on the back as you see here. Once the fuzzy part of the mouth is in place, carefully or with help, trim some extra and bend over the remaining to lock it in place. Now grab the tongue and we'll place it under the black fuzzy mouthpiece. Pull both those ends through to snugly have the tongue on the bridge. Then angle and place it so it looks right for you. Once you have it in the right spot, push up the extra on the back and carefully or with help, trim some of it off, leaving a bit to be folded down and secured as you have been doing. Now you have a completed bridge piece with features ready to connect to the body. Now let's choose a piece to be the front. We will be placing features on this piece. Let's do the bridge piece first. A good place to start is with the bottom connection in the very center of the body frame fill. Push the top connection through the fill where it falls as well. If you need help getting through your fill, carefully or with help, grab a pencil and push it through to make a starter hole. Be sure to get it as snug as you can to the body frame. Push down as you go since there's a lot of connection on the back of this piece. When you have it in place, fold down those connections as shown to keep it from moving. Let's connect his eyes now. With that sparkle in the top right, push it through the fill around where that bend in the bridge occurs as you see here. Turn and adjust until you like it, then lightly bend back the connection to keep it in place. Repeat this connection on the other eye, being sure to make the angle and placement of that sparkle match the first. If that white wire is getting stuck, simply pull out the eye and re-secure the wire, then push it through again. Once you like the placement, bend that connection to lock it in place like you have been on the back. Let's connect his white tummy now. Line up those bottom connections just above the base of the frame and push through. Then push through that top connection where it lands. After you have it where you want it, secure by twisting together those connections in the back and folding them down to lock it all in place. Flatten and mold the tummy to make it match what you want. If you want to further secure the bridge piece, grab a scrap pipe cleaner and twist it around those connections to make it more secure. Now let's move on to our ears and tail. Place the front on the back to start, and then put your ears in. Be sure the rounded part is on top for both ears and place them inside the body sandwich where you think they should go and check and move as needed. Bend down each ear on the edge as shown to make them look floppy, then continue to move each ear to the place you like them. When you have them in the right spot, unfold them and carefully remove the front. Pinch together where they overlap and pick up the ears. Twist those connections together to lock it in place. This will lock in your distance of the ears, then recheck with the front on for placement again. You will want that connection in a V shape to keep those ears in the right spot, as you see here. Once you have them in place, carefully remove that front again and locate the fill line the bottom connections go over. Then gently pull it up and slide the bottom connections under and then fold them over to secure. This should not be seen on the back. You can also fold the center connection under the pulled up fill piece. Now check it again with the front on to see if you like the placement of the ears. Oh, and don't forget to flop those ears back down. Let's add his tail now. Lay it on the back and check with the front to determine placement. When you have it in the right spot, carefully remove the front and pull up the fill lines those connections are laying on. Then wrap each connection around their respective fill line to lock them in. Check placement once more with the front on and we will connect him all together now. Grab that pencil and carefully, or with help, poke a starter hole through the filled pieces of both bodies at the top and the center. Grab a full tan pipe cleaner that's the same color as the body and push it through that hole and twist a small amount around to secure. Poke one more hole to the right of that one you just made and sew from back to front. The next hole will be on the other side of the right ear, and you're going to sew from back to front, going behind the ear as you go. Keep poking starter holes and sewing from back to front tightly all the way to the tummy part of your piece. When you reach the tummy, gently pull it up as shown and continue sewing under it carefully. When you get past that part, push the tummy back in place and keep going. Do one more stitch right before the tail. Then make another one around the tail to continue sewing. If you have length, do one more. If not, just hide the piece inside the body frames and tie on again with a new piece to finish sewing. Be sure to go behind the back of the ear to finish sewing to the top. If you want to place a magnet or an AirTag inside your pipe squeak, now is the time to slide that in before you finish sewing them all together. If you want to add it later, simply snip one of those stitches to make a space and place it inside, then stitch it back up. Do one last stitch and carefully, or with help, trim and secure the end, hiding it inside the piece, and you're finished. Great job! We want to see how you did. Show us your piece. You can put a magnet inside, an ear tag. Tell us how you used it. It can be a charm for a backpack, purses, keys, and so much more. Thanks for creating with us. Be sure to tag us with those pictures on Instagram @AscendArtCo to show off your work to everybody. And subscribe to our channel for more tutorials and fun creations. Until next time, happy twisting!